Hello to everyone that's entering the waiting room now. Very excited to have you on the call, whether you're joining me for a morning coffee, maybe an afternoon tea, or settling into your nighttime routine. We're very excited to have you on this call to learn a bit more about AssessPrep and the evolving landscape of digital assessments for the IBDP. So, we're going to do a few little introductions now to let you know who we are and what we do within Farrier and AssessPrep. So, my name is Jack. I'm a solutions consultant at ManageBack, and I work across our other products across the Farrier suite, which of course are Atlas for curriculum management, Open Apply for admissions, and Schools Buddy for activities management at schools. Who you probably see at the top of your screens as well are Karan, the co-founder of AssessPrep. And we've also got Khan here as well, who's the director of curriculum at AssessPrep too. Very fortunate to have met them both over the years and see AssessPrep go from a budding flower into the full rose it is today. So looking forward to learning a bit more about what they're going to talk about. Bit of housekeeping before we get started as well. We do have some Q&A functionality in the webinar. If you're new to Zoom, you'll have a toolbar across the bottom of your screen, and you'll be able to see the Q&A section. We're also going to be running polls throughout, so there are 5 of them, and we would love some people to interact with those, get some responses. So they'll pop up on your screen, and you can give your answers there too. And a final note, we'd love to hear your thoughts on social media, only good ones, please. Use our hashtags that you can see on the screen here as well to leave those thoughts. But yeah, that's about it for housekeeping. And we're going to actually hit off with a bit of a break the ice and the first poll. So I will hit that now. And we just want to see who's joining us today on today's call. Fantastic. So a lot of teachers, leadership, technology coming in as well. A few answers still trickling in, but I'm going to end the poll there so I can share that all out with you here too. And thanks for the people that are actually putting hello in the chat and where they're calling from. That's always appreciated. But yeah, you can see who's on today's call as well. So thanks very much for interacting with that poll. We're going to now kick off and pass over to Khan to take away the webinar.
Thank you so much, Jack. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for taking the time out and for joining today's webinar. It's amazing to see some familiar names and some non-familiar names as well. Hello from different parts of the world to all of you. Today's webinar, the evolving landscape of digital assessments for the IBDP. Well, before we really move ahead with some of the stats and figures, something that I just want to bring about is where we were versus where we are and the roadmap ahead. As you can see on your screens, way back in 2016, the IB launched the MYP assessments. Now, everybody is talking about the third educational revolution, and the e-assessments actually is an important aspect of that third revolution, because the third education revolution talks specifically about innovation and digital transformation. Having successfully prepared students from 2016 onwards with these e-assessments, the IB now has determined and showed a phased rollout of digital assessments for the diploma program, that's for grade 11 and 12. And by 2030, that's what they're expecting. On the next slide, you would typically see the IB's plans for digital assessments in 2030. By 2030, they've already done so. 2026, we're going to look at subjects from group 1 and group 2, that's English language and literature, and some Spanish subjects to be assessed digitally. And then in the November session, they probably see some French, and then you'd slowly see more and more and more assessments coming. And by 2030, we're looking at the entire DP transforming into digital assessments. The way the IB took this forward was they conducted a beautiful survey in January of 2020, And I really recommend that teachers across schools should take the time out and go through that survey and see what it says. What we've done is we have highlighted some of the very specific features, of specific results of that survey. It showed that over 64% of educators agreed with the IB's digitalization of assessments because it aligned with the philosophy where they said that it helps to develop well rounded individuals equipped with skills, knowledge, and values. 68% of the teachers said that it made a positive impact on the quality of learning within the classrooms. 70% of the teachers found an increase in their ability to monitor progress more effectively when it came to digital assessments. Now, an amazing and noteworthy point here is that over 72% of the teachers actually felt, and this was part of the report that showed that the teachers were able to cater to a larger range of student learning styles. Now, for teachers who have been teaching in the IB, I'm very certain you know that what I'm trying to point out here. When we talk of creating or catering to learning styles, we talk about creating a robust, inclusive learning and assessment environment. Now, this is something that digital assessments allows you to do. What we at AssessPrep did was in the previous month is we conducted 100 schools survey where we asked educators what the pain points were and why it was necessary, why they felt it was necessary for us to go digital. So, what the pain points were and what the solutions were. And the results showed four major concerns that teachers had pointed out. The first was a delay in the overall grading time and giving feedback. So, over 63% of teachers felt that it was painful or it took a lot of time and it was an inefficient way of working, whereas digital assessments helps you to overcome those issues. Well, 50% of the teachers felt that paper storage and safety in terms of logistics was a concern. Teachers have started to feel that there is a lot of surface level data which is available when it comes to creating or conducting assessments on paper or using the pen and paper mode, which in turn creates limited insights rather than having in-depth analysis. So you can do your result analysis, you can focus on personalization of learning, you can actually see what a student has learned qualitatively and quantitatively. And most importantly, the biggest pain point was that the amount of time that a teacher took was phenomenal to create an assessment from scratch. Now, this poll or these questions were asked to teachers who are also currently using AssessPrep. And when we asked them these questions, we wanted to know what their feedback was. And when we took the second part of that feedback is what I'd like to show you, prior to which I'd like to ask you those same questions, ladies and gentlemen. What is the biggest challenge that you face in your school with the current pen and paper assessment situation? If you could take a minute or so to respond to this, it'd be amazing. The first statement talks about creating assessment. The second is grading. The third is logistics. The fourth is security and paper loss. And the fifth is analysis. And then, of course, you've got all of the above, which I can see by the polls being run. It seems to be one of the highest chosen options. Wow. Another 10 seconds, and then we'll shut this poll. Fascinating. 53% of us on this call today feel that it's all of the above or the maximum amount of time is being consumed in delay in grading and giving feedback to students. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. To this, ladies and gentlemen, AssessPrep offers the following perspectives. 75% teachers in the poll that we conducted, in the survey we conducted, felt that they were able to save more than 30 minutes with the use of AssessPrep's existing question bank. over 73% of the teachers were actually able to show that there was an increase in the efficiency and in the fairness when it came to using features such as anonymous grading and automated scoring. 78% teachers saved more than 30 minutes on each assessment with the AI powered grading. And over 77% teachers found an enhanced accessibility and security when it comes to inclusive access arrangement or accommodations, as you can see on the screen. Now, with these results, it's only fair to say that digital assessments is the future. How AssessPrep has actually been able to bring in the elements that the IB had outlined from the year 2016 and the concerns that were shown by the teachers through our own done survey. I'd like to call on Karan Gupta, the co-founder of AssessPrep, to share his insights and to show us some of the product features that will help you to understand how AssessPrep will help you to get through with this. Over to you, Karan.
Thank you, Karan. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this webinar. What we've realized is we've been in this space since 2016, and 70% of all schools which take the MYPE assessment use AssessPrep, and we want to continue supporting schools through their transition for the IB diploma program as well. So before we start, I just wanted to get a vibe check. So which curricula, I know this webinar is specifically for the diploma program, but AssessPrep is being used across the different programs. So I just wanted to understand which curricula do you offer at your school? So you can select more than one. Is it the DP, MYP, the PYP, Cambridge, or others, maybe national curricula, maybe the other international curricula. So you can choose. I would let this poll be there for another 10 to 15 seconds. I can see most of the people are either from the diploma program or are from continuum schools. Yeah. I think we can probably end the poll now. So as you can see, yes. So thank you. This webinar is for the diploma program specifically, but AssessPrep is being used in schools which offer the other curricula as well. If I go on to the next slide now. So I think a lot of you probably know what AssessPrep is, but I just wanted to give you a brief introduction of what we do. It's an end-to-end assessment platform which allows schools to create, deliver, monitor, grade, and analyze assessments. And you can do all of that from within ManageBack. We are working with more than 600 schools in 85 countries, and more than 20,000 educators use AssessPrep at the moment. We are working with more than 300 DP schools already, and with IB transitioning to digital assessments for the diploma program, we want to continue supporting schools in the diploma program as well. If I talk about the end-to-end flow of AssessPrep and how it works, the first component of AssessPrep is the create, where we allow you to create interactive or engaging assessments. There are three ways of doing that, and I'll be going into more detail. But what you can do is either put in your own questions, use the extensive question bank that we offer for the IB diploma program, or you can use AI to generate your own questions. The second step is once you've created your assessment, you can deliver it either through a browser or through the lockdown app, or there's a new paper mode that we've just come up with, and a lot of schools that are using it are really excited about it. So I'll be going through more detail, but you can choose to flexibly deliver it digitally or on paper. The third step is while the students are taking the assessments, you can monitor and support students. You can chat with them, see their progress. Finally, once the submissions come back, you can create student submissions. Obviously, all the interactive questions are auto-graded, but we have the instant grading with AI for all the other question types. Finally, because every question is tagged to the DP curriculum standards, you can see very detailed assessment analytics for each question and as per the different curriculum standards as well. And we are able to do this all within ManageBack. So we have a very deep integration with ManageBack. So how that integration really works is if you are a managed back school, it's a one-click setup. What that means is all your school settings, users, subjects, classes are automatically synced into AssessPrep, and all of this information always remains in sync. So you do not have to maintain data on two places. There's a single sign-on, so you do not need separate credentials to log into AssessPrep. And the third is the task and gradebook integration that we offer, which means that you can create assessments on AssessPrep within your managed back tasks, and your grades automatically move back into your managed back gradebooks, and your report cards are automatically generated. So these are the three very deep integrations that we offer with managed back at the moment. So what I wanted to talk today was the different components of AssessPrep, the new updates, and obviously the paper mode. So the first thing that you can do is you can create an assessment from scratch. You have all the DP subjects available, and what you can do is just start adding your own questions. We offer a variety of question types and content types that you can choose from, and you can actually replicate or mirror the exact assessment that you see on paper onto AssessPrep. What that means, we also give you the ability not only to add multiple choice questions or long answer questions, but what you can do is you can add group questions, which are actually nested questions. So questions with subparts. So you can exactly recreate an assessment that you see on paper onto AssessPrep. We're excited to announce three new question types or three new content types, which is embed, Google Slides, and Google Docs. So you can actually embed any website or any resource that the students would be able to refer to while they're taking the assessment. You can embed Google Slides and Google Docs into your assessment as well. The second way of creating an assessment on AssessPrep is through the AI-powered authoring. What you can do here is you can select your IBDP specific parameters, and you can generate questions on the basis of it. So if I show you that this through the platform itself, what you would be able to do is if I have a biology assessment on AssessPrep, I can just simply click on the Generate with AI button. I can put in a source. It can be an image, it can be a text or a PDF. I can choose my question type. So I have a variety of question types to choose from. I can choose my syllabus topic. So this is coming from the IB guides. I can choose a command term. I can choose the number of points that I want to assign to this question, and I can give some additional instructions. And I can simply click on the generate button on the right, and I can generate questions on the basis of the parameters. So I can generate high quality questions by choosing the parameters on the left. If I like these questions, I can simply add those to my assessment. If I want to modify those, I can do that as well. What I can do is I can simply click on the edit button, and I can edit these questions. So AI is just an assistant for the teachers. You have complete control over what it is generating. So you can actually generate questions and explanations. So just simply clicking on the auto generate button would generate an explanation to the question or any question that you've added to the test. So this is the AI powered or AI assisted authoring that is now available. Here, what you would be able to do is you can not only generate long answer questions. There are three new question types that we've added. You can generate interactive questions like match and classify, but you can also generate complete tasks using the AI powered authoring now. If I go on to the third way and of adding questions, obviously we offer a large extensive bank for MYP, but now we've also come up with a large and extensive bank for DP as well. So we offer a bank of over 500 assessments, 15,000 questions in 18 of the most popular subjects. And this is as per the new IBDB syllabus. So if I show you the bank, so this is the AssessPrep bank. Here you can see you have the bank available for economics, geography, global politics, psychology, business management, environmental systems and societies. This is the new syllabus, language acquisition for English, Spanish, and French, language and literature, English, the two new mathematics. You have computer science, the new sciences, and design technology. We would keep investing in this bank, and we would keep adding more and more assessments to this bank. And there are two new subjects that are coming up in the next 4 weeks. But what we want to do is we want to give educators a ready-made bank that they could delve into and quickly uh, create their assessment. So either you can use assessments as it is, or you can tailor it to your own needs from the library. So this is the bank that we now offer. There's a new feature that we've come up with for schools which have a diverse student population and would want to offer assess prep in multiple languages. So all the assessments that you see on assess prep are in English. But let's say, except obviously the language acquisition assessments, if you want to translate an assessment into another language because you want to support your students who do not natively probably speak English, we have come up with a new feature which would make these assessments more accessible to the students, which is called translate assessments. And how this would really work is, let's say I have an assessment in economics and I want to translate it into another language. I can just simply click on the translate button on the top right, and I can just choose which language I want to translate the assessment to. So I can, let's say I want to translate it to German, and it would completely translate the assessment, including the questions and the mark schemes into another language. So even if your school is using, it has another language, you can now use AssessPrep and the bank that we offer, and you can translate it to another language. Once you've created your assessment, there are essentially three ways of delivering it to the students. So for the DP, you can either do formatives and assignments. So if you just want to transition and want to allow students to take the assessment, let's say on any device, they want to do research, they want access to other resources. So what you can do is you can use the secure browser and you can do formatives and assignments, and they can start the assessment in any browser. The second mode that we offer is the lockdown mode, and this is useful if you want to transition to digital assessments. And this would not allow students to access anything else. It would mirror the experience of the actual IBDP assessments, where the students cannot access anything else while they're taking the assessments in the lockdown mode. It completely locks down their device. And this would help you maintain the integrity of the exam. So because students now have access to AI and obviously a lot of resources on the web, we would want that while the students are taking the assessment, they should not be able to access anything else. And it should mirror the experience of the actual IBDP assessments. So you should use the lockdown mode. But for schools which want to gradually transition, we've come up with something new, which is called the paper mode. And this is something that schools are most excited about. What this allows you to do is it allows you to gradually transition to pen and paper assessments, to digital assessments. So it allows you to automate everything from test creation to grading to analysis, but still allow students to take the assessment on pen and paper. How this really works and why we created this is we don't want the schools to choose between pen and paper assessments and digital assessments. As the entire world is racing towards digital assessments, we thought that there is this familiarity to pen and paper assessments, that the schools still would want to take the assessments and gradually transition, but we can still eliminate the inefficiencies that hold schools back. So how does the paper mode do that? And I'm very, very excited to talk about this feature that we've launched, because this is something that is only exclusively available on AssessPrep. How we do that is you can create the assessments either using AI or the extensive question bank that we offer, or you can add your own questions. Once you've done that, you can export it in the form of a PDF with pre-labeled student details and space for student answers. The students would still take the assessment on pen and paper. You can just collect the student submissions. You can take any camera, any mobile phone to click pictures and just bulk upload everything into AssessPrep. Our intelligent assistant would automatically map it to the right question and student. And finally, you can use grading with AI to auto grade everything and you get immediate analytics. And all of this moves automatically into the managed by gradebook. So if I show you a demo of how the paper mode works, so let's say I have an assessment here where what I can do is I can just start adding questions to my assessment. So I have an assessment in biology over here. What I can do is I have about 6 questions here. What I can just simply go into the library and I can pull more questions from the library. Let's say there is a question that I like. I can add that question to my assessment. Now I have more questions. I can add my own questions here, or I can pull questions. I can generate it with AI. Once I have added these questions to my assessment, what I can do is I can just deliver it or assign it to my students. So I can come onto the Deliver tab and I can select my classes and I can map it to the students. And then I can just export it and I can choose if I want to give space for students' answers and I want to print a copy for each student and simply click on the export button. Once I do that, it will create a nicely formatted version of the assessment for each student. So the assessment would somewhat look like this, where it'll have the name of the school, the information about the assessment, some instructions, and then space for student answers. You have the ability to control how much space you want to provide the students with each question. So this is what you would get for each student. You just print it out and you can give it to all the students. Here, what you can do is you can just publish the assessment. We would let the students take the assessment on pen and paper. While the students are taking the assessment, you do not need any devices in the classroom. You do not need a Wi-Fi network, nothing. It's just simple pen and paper assessments. You can just simply collect them back and then use any mobile phone. You don't need a very nicely scanned version, but just any mobile phone picture would do. And I'm showing you some examples of how a student assessment looks like. So you can see there's a question and then there is student handwriting, which might be a little messy. So this is what it looks like. What you can do is you can just click all these pictures and then you can come on to the grading tab. And here what you can do is just bulk upload answer sheets. You just click create a zipped file and you can just bulk upload all the answer scripts into the grading tab for AssessPrep. So let me do that very, very quickly. So what I would do is let me just bulk upload all the answer scripts into AssessPrep. And once I do that, what it would do is it would just start mapping the students immediately. So it would just start creating the student submissions and it would start mapping the student submissions into AssessPrep. So you can see that the student submissions are already created and it is auto mapping the student answers into AssessPrep. So it'll take some time to do that. Once it's done, what it would look like is with every student answer, you would have the question plus the answer. So this is the question. You can see the name of the student here and you can see the question. It is correctly mapped it to the right student and the right question. And now what I can just simply do is I can simply click on the grade with AI button. Once I click on the grade with AI button, it analyzes the student handwriting and automatically grades it. Here I have the option of using the grade it has given, or I can improve. I can just give it some instructions. I can say too long and I can apply that. So I can improve it, or I can just simply discard it and I can give my own feedback as well. So I can do that now. And once I grade it, what I would be able to do is I would be able to grade all student submissions one by one. But something what we have come up with is nobody wants to do this one by one. If I click on the grade all button, what this would do is it would grade all of the student submissions automatically. So what I just need to do is bulk upload everything and then just simply click on the grade all button, and it would analyze the student's handwriting and automatically grade all the student submissions using AI, which I can then review the feedback that it has generated, and I can then publish the results. So it'll take about a minute or so to do this, but if you can see that it has already started generating some feedback, and it will automatically do an analysis it'll start generating some analysis because every question was tagged to the relevant curriculum standards. So I can see how the students are distributed. I can see how they've performed for the different questions. So I can very quickly see that most students are struggling with question 1.2, but 1.1 was really, really simple probably. And I can also see how they've performed as per the different curriculum standards for IBDP. So because every question was tagged, I can see this for each student and for the assessment as a whole. If I come back onto the grading tab, I can see that the grading progress is now complete. And it took me about a minute or so, but it has graded all the student submissions for me. And I can just go ahead and I can just review the feedback and the marks it has assigned to each question. So this is what the paper mode is. We are very, very excited to launch this. I just wanted to talk about the benefits. So if we want to transform a stack of, let's say, 100 submissions into actionable insights within minutes, the paper mode is for you. So you do not have to choose between pen and paper assessments and digital assessments. You can actually embrace the best of both worlds. Create the assessments using the bank or AI digitally, deliver it to the students on paper, but use the power of AI to grade and analyze those assessments. You do not need devices. You do not need Wi-Fi in the classroom. You get in-depth analytics for the DP program. And if you have other curricula, you can obviously tag it to other curriculum standards as well. You do not need, so it's very, very cost effective for a school because you do not obviously need the digital infrastructure. And if you want to gradually transition to digital assessments, getting the students to do it on uh, digitally on a computer probably is a lot for all the different subjects. So let's say we transition to digital assessments for language acquisition and language and literature, but we use the same workflow and let the students take it on paper for, let's say, the sciences and the mathematics. So you can have a very gradual transition to digital assessments. So this is what paper mode is. If I talk about the other updates. If you are doing assessments digitally, we obviously have the monitoring dashboard, which allows you to monitor, manage, and support students in real time. You can see an automatic attendance. You can enable accommodations. You can chat with students. So there are some AI-powered accommodations that we have recently launched, like speech to text, text to speech, the ability to pause an assessment while the students are taking the test. So this is something that's new in terms of the monitor tab. If there are assessments that are happening over multiple days, what this allows you to kind of do is you can pause and control the flow of the assessment. Here, if you click on pause test, it would just automatically pause the assessment for all the students who are taking the assessment. And this would now give you the ability to control the flow of the assessment if it is an assessment or a research project that is happening over multiple days. So this is something new that we've come up with in the live monitoring. In terms of AI-powered grading, I've shown you the AI-powered grading and it works amazingly well for handwritten assessments, but it also works for your typed assessments as well. There are some things that we've come up with, which I wanted to show you. One is customizable grading settings. So you always want the students, your grading, your feedback to the students should be as per your tone and your style. So for that, what we've come up with are customizable grading settings. What you can do is you can choose your settings. So you can choose if you want the grading mode to be lenient, standard, or strict. You can choose the feedback language. If you want to generate the feedback in another language, you can choose the length of the feedback, you can choose the tone, and you can also give some additional instructions to the AI in terms of the structure of the feedback. So let's say I want it to be in a certain way. I can just put in that structure while it's grading the assessment. So let me just put a structure in. So in this grading settings, I want the students, the AI should work in a certain way where it should talk about what the student did well and areas of improvement, and then next steps. So I can say uh, generate the feedback in the following structure. And I can click on save. And now if I click on grade with AI, what it would do is it would grade the student's answer, but generate the feedback in this structure. So you can see what the student did well, what are the areas of improvement, and what are the next steps. I can simply click on the use button, discard button, or I can improve it using AI as well. So that's one. The second thing that we've done is mark as seed. So let's say I have created the first student submission. I've gone through the feedback that this AI has generated. I have changed it. I've reviewed it, and I'm happy with the feedback that the AI has generated. Now I can just simply mark it as seed. Once I do that, then I grade the next student, it would take that into consideration and then grade the other student. So it will see the tone, the structure, the way you grade the student, and it would try to learn from that. So the AI is learning from the seed submission, from the feedback that you've given on the seed submission. So I think this is a great option if you want the AI to be tailored and it works exactly like you would want it to. So I think this is a great option for that. So this is something that's now available. The third thing that you can do is obviously the AI is grading on the basis of the mark scheme that you've added. So now, even if you've added the mark scheme incorrectly, and if you want to change it later, what you can simply do is you can go back into the Create tab, and you now have the ability to edit it even after you've received the submissions. So you can change the mark scheme and then go back and rerun the grading. So you can simply click on grade all or grading with AI, and you can just rerun the grading again. So these are three new things that we've come up with. And also now it is possible to grade all question types. So earlier it was only possible to grade the long answer questions with AI, but now you can grade questions with drawing-based questions and GeoGebra-based questions using AI as well. So that's a big thing that we've announced, we've launched for all our schools, where all question types, everything with one button just gets graded with AI. So that's something new with the AI-powered grading. In terms of the analytics, I have shown you the assessment analytics already. So it allows you to see how the students have performed for the entire assessment. So you can see a summary of um, the assessment, where you can see how the students have performed in the entire assessment, the average percentage, the highest, the lowest score. You can see how the students have performed for each question. And you can also see how the students have performed for across the different curriculum standards. But what we have come up with is we have included more than 600 international curriculum standards into the AssessPrep curriculum library. And what you can now do is, if you teach other curricula except the IBDP in your school, let's say the Cambridge, the NGSS, the Advanced Placement, ACARA, or anything else. So we have a library of over 600 curricula. I can show you a few of them. You can simply just go ahead and enable those for your school. So you can see this option where you can see the standard sets, and you would be able to just enable the standard sets for your school. So you can enable any of the standard sets for your school and then tag questions on the basis of these different curriculum standards. Now, if I go on to the next thing, and I just wanted to recap what this big transition means for DP. There are three things that our big vision entails. The first thing is that what we want is we are here to support your digital transition. So the digital transition is happening not only for DP, but for the different curricula. The Cambridge from 2026 is moving towards digital assessments. Advanced placement is again moving towards digital assessments, and DP is also gradually transitioning to digital assessment. So it's coming. What we want to do, as we've been supporting all the MYP schools through their digital transitions, we want to do the same for DP as well. Wherever you are on this path, whether you're just starting to explore digital assessments or you're already all in, you can use AssessPrep, and we've got all the tools to support that journey. Second is we want to help you save time and effort. If you're doing these assessments digitally, you should not have the inefficiencies of a pen and paper assessment. So throughout the assessment process, whether it's creation of a test where you can either generate questions using AI or use the extensive bank of exam style questions for the DP to quickly create an assessment, whether it is while you are grading the assessment and the AI powered grading, which makes it super efficient and saves you a lot of time, or whether it is analysis, which does not happen usually during a pen and paper assessment. You can use AssessPrep and make every step easier and more efficient. So you should be able to save at least 2 hours for each assessment once you implement it fully at your school. And the third thing is we understand that every school is different, every class is different, and sometimes even every assessment is different. So that's why we want to offer a mix of options for both paper-based assessments, digital assessments, or a mix of both. So these are three things that I wanted to recap about our journey and how we want to support the schools. Now, I just wanted to launch a poll. So there are a lot of features that I showed you right now. I just wanted your opinion on what you think about and which feature excites you the most. Is it the AI-assisted generation of questions and mark scheme? Is it AI-powered grading? Is it the AI-enhanced paper-based assessments? Is it the extensive question bank that I've shown you for DP? Is it the detailed assessment analytics? Obviously, this is multi-select, so you can choose more than one. And I can see a lot of people choosing a lot of these different options. Or is it the seamless integration with Management? And obviously, it can be all the options for you, or it can be some of the options which you think are more suitable for your school or which would enhance your workflow more. But feel free, I would keep this open because this is, I think, a long question. Take your time. I'll keep this poll open for a little while longer. But it will just help us understand what is it that schools are most excited about, and we can probably work harder on those features and improve those features and prioritize those features a little bit more. So if I can see a lot of schools are excited about all of these different features, I'll just keep it open for another 10 seconds and then I can share the results with everybody. There's obviously a last option where you can say, I don't like AssessPrep at all, and none of the features that you've shown I like, and none of the features that you've just shown. But yeah, so you can see the results. Thankfully, none of you have answered nothing, I don't like AssessPrep, but I can see it's actually a mix of all of these different features where you like everything, and you would probably want to get these efficiencies into your assessment workflow. The next thing I want to do is I want to go on to the next slide, and this is something that would help us get in touch with you. So if you don't know about AssessPrep and you want to start a free trial, you can choose the first option. The second option is you're already a customer, but either you're interested in upgrading or learning more about these features. So you can choose the second option. And the third option is you're not interested in whatever we are showing you at this time. We respect that. And you can feel free to choose the third option as well. If you choose these, we would send you an email and you can book a call with us. So feel free. to choose any of these three options. So we already have some things coming in.
We have some questions. Can I direct them to you?
Sure. So just if you can end this poll and let's just share the results for this one. And let's, um, if we can move on to the next slide, I will take all the questions that you have, Karan, and I would love to answer. We have about 15 minutes, and I think we have enough time to answer all the questions that are there in the chat. But if anybody wants and they want to get in touch with us immediately, feel free to scan this QR code. It will open a form. Just fill in that form, and we are offering an instant 30-day trial activation for your school. So you'll be able to trial all of these features at your school. So if you want to get in touch with us, please feel free to scan the QR code that you see on your screen. Yes, Karan, please let me know the
No,
questions now.
I have tried to answer as many as I can. There's one that stumped me. Okay, for students to fill in a Venn diagram in mathematics, please can you mention the mode of the question to be selected? There's definitely a
Okay.
math teacher.
Right. I think this is more specific to the MYP, but if you want the students to fill in the Venn diagram, there's an amazing question that we offer, which is called the drawing-based question. And what you can do in the drawing-based question is you can actually create a Venn diagram. And then let the students fill it. So you can fill in some of the details and let the students fill the other details on AssessPrep. So AssessPrep essentially offers 20 different question types. So you can probably use some of these question types. But for this option, I think you should be using the drawing-based question. I think I've answered this question. Is there any other question?
There's one question that has been asked about the standards. Now, this is in continuation with a question that was asked earlier about all our question papers and assessments, which have got questions which are part of the IBDP structure. So the teacher has said, are the IB subject specific standards available to pick from? For example, IBDP chemistry HL structure 2.1. So can we show the meta taggings that we have?
Right, I can do that. So if I go back and if I can just open a chemistry assessment, or I can show one in the library. So the DP standards are all there. If I open chemistry here, let's say paper 2. So you can see it's tagged to all the different topics, the new syllabus. And you can choose to which level you want to tag the question. Is it this, or you want to go a level deeper? You can tag it to a level deeper as well. But the new syllabus structure is all available. When you create an assessment, you get the ability to tag it to the relevant curriculum standards. I think I have probably answered the question. Is there any other?
Yes, we have a counter question. Thank you for your response. I feel it's a little time consuming to draw the Venn diagram and to fill using text boxes for students. Is there any other method?
So I think the teacher can probably draw the basic structure of the Venn diagram or include an image, and then the students can just edit it or just add the labels or the text onto the Venn diagram. There are a few questions, other questions that I think you've answered already, but I would still like to, because we have some time left and it might be helpful for other participants as well. What is the source of these 15,000 questions that we have in the extensive IBDP library that we are offering to schools? So that's one of the questions. These have all been created by IBDP examiners, but vetted by our content team internally. These are not generated by AI. These all have been actually written by experienced IBDP educators and vetted by our team internally. The second question is, are the psychology questions from the new specification? Yes. So we are in the process of remapping it to the new syllabus because it's something that's just come, but it was created as per the new syllabus. But we are in the process of slowly remapping it to the new syllabus for psychology. Are the assessments in the question bank aligned with the specific paper models format and level? Exactly. So the way we've created all of these assessments in the library that we offer is as per the paper numbers, and it's exactly like the paper. So it's exactly like the paper that you see in the IBDP final exams. So it's exactly in the same structure, the same level, the same difficulty, and the same pattern. Is Arabic an option in the translation? Yes, you can translate it to Arabic and any language. If there is this language that you want is not available in the translate options, please feel free to get in touch with us. We keep adding new languages to it and we'll prioritize that language as well. There's a great question. Is it giving partial points? It gave 2.5 out of 3 in a question in the example. So you can choose those settings. Right now, we've given this setting in the grading where you can choose if you want to allow partial marks or if you want it to give complete marks like full integers. So do you want decimal points, decimal values in points? Or you don't want that. So if you turn this option on in your grading settings, it will just grade and give points in whole numbers. It would not give decimal values while it's grading. So you have all of that control. There are some schools which want decimal values. There are some schools which don't. So you can control that at your end. How reliable is the auto grading by AI? So that's another question that has come up in the chat box. And I think that's a great question. So this is something that we've been doing for a year. And I think it is 85% there. It's an assistant for the teachers. It helps you generate amazing feedback, which it would take a teacher a lot of time to write. But it's again an assistant. It is prone to hallucination. What you can do is once you choose your grading settings and you mark something as seed, it becomes more and more accurate. For some subjects like language literature, language acquisition, economics, psychology, business management, it is more accurate. It is becoming more and more accurate for subjects like sciences and math. So for these subjects, it's probably 85% there, but it still does a pretty good job. So if you're grading an entire assessment with, let's say, 30 submissions, it would probably do a very good job for 24 or 25 of those submissions. And for 4 or 5 of those submissions, you probably would have to review it and change the marks a little bit, but it still does 80% of the job for you. Um, can the AI read poor handwriting with poor language level? Because I understand the students, when they're taking assessments, the handwriting might be really, really messy. And what we've tried is we've tried some handwritings which humans are not able to read, but AI does a pretty good job at it. So it's surprising, but even if it's really, really poor handwriting, it does a pretty good job. So this is something that we've already tested and it works really well. Which mode of the graph should be assigned for mathematics? Uh, so I think this is asking about the GeoGebra. So if you want to use the classic or the graphing uh, calculator. So I think it really specific to the use case. I think we've already answered that question. Does AssessPrep work with IGCSE and A levels? And that's a great question. So one thing that I wanted to talk about is we are launching a library for IGCSE because Cambridge IGCSE is moving towards digital assessments next year. So schools which offer the Cambridge IGCSE program would be able to use questions from that extensive library of over 10 subjects, about 8,000 questions that we are launching next week. So if you're in an IGCSE school, you can pilot with that. We are already working with a lot of IGCSE schools, but if you want to pilot that library, you can use that as well. Also, the entire curriculum standards for IGCSE and A levels is built into AssessPrep, so you can add your own questions as well. Yeah, I think I've answered almost all questions in the chat box.
Karan, there's
If
one question that's come up. How are the assessments in AssessPrep similar to the digital assessments that the IBO is planning on using in the official examinations?
So right now, the assessments that we offer in the library, it is very, very similar to the pen and paper assessments that the IB is doing, but we're offering very similar tools that mirrors the experience of the IB DP assessments. Because what I understand is that the assessments wouldn't change that much, but we do not have a specimen from the IB. But we understand the interface. We want to create a very similar interface. So giving the students the ability to use some of those digital tools like bookmarking a question or text to speech or annotating. So these are similar tools that you would get, or a timer on an AssessPrep assessment, but it is very, very similar in terms of the structure, the difficulty to an paper-based assessment at the moment. If once IB comes up with a specimen exam, and if it's different, we'll probably create an assessment bank for digital assessments if it is different. But what I know is it would be very, very similar to the pen and paper assessments in terms of the questions. Great.
Perfect.
I think that's it from our side. If there are no further questions, we can probably end this webinar. Over to you, Jack.
Yeah, thanks so much for running through that. It's amazing what you've just been through. So very excited to see all of the chats and the questions, and thanks for everyone for coming along today. We have recorded the session, and you'll get that in the next few days as well, so you can rewatch back, share it with your colleagues and things like that too. And yeah, thank you again for all joining, and have a good rest of your day.